So you're thinking of visiting Congaree National Park in South Carolina, but you're not sure if you should hike it or paddle it to make the most of your visit? We'll show you both of those in today's video so you can make an informed decision. The park, whether on water or trails, can have the downside of bugs, but the upside of very, very small crowds. We think you're going to love it if you'll just slow down and take it in. We're here at Congaree National Park. One of the neat things they have here is the mosquito level alert. And luckily for us, it's at the lowest it can possibly be. It kind of goes from you're going to be okay to you might get bitten to you might want to turn around. It's a war zone. We're really glad that it's really low today, and it's a beautiful day to be out here at Congaree.
So you're in a hurry, well, you better calm down. We're all friends around you, just join the fun. 'Cause if you're in a hurry, you're missing the point. Should enjoy the fruits of life instead of chasing coins. Because it's a beautiful day. Isn't it so come on, let's play.
Spend a lot of time looking at the wide bases of the cypress trees when you're here, but a lot of time looking up because you're in the middle of this forest and it's absolutely beautiful and peaceful and quiet and just everything you'd hoped it would be.
Forget the rush you're in and find a good spot. Sit down and join us as we sing a good song. Keep back, relax, and just follow along. Oh, we got plenty of time. Taking it easy won't cost you a dime. Throw another log onto the fire. Because it's a beautiful day.
If you're walking on the boardwalk, you're going to see numbers on the trail, and those indicate things you need to stop and look at. For example, this is one of the former champion loblolly pines here in this national park. Now, loblolly pines don't usually grow in the wetlands like this, but this one has, and it's grown to be over 150 feet tall, and at one point was a champion tree, meaning it was either the tallest or the oldest, or, well, if there's now a champion in that, I guess it's not the oldest, it never would have been. So apparently there's one of them that's more than 150 feet tall. That there's a tree hugger.
That's a tree hugger.
That's it, isn't it? What a beautiful tree.
It is a beautiful tree. If you love trees, you're going to love this national park.
And if you're a woodpecker, you're probably going to love this national park. Over my shoulder is Watson Lake, and it's an oxbow lake. You can look that up if you care about that, but it's actually pretty interesting the way these things are formed. It's actually pretty nice if you come here and you want to just stay on this boardwalk because you can see a lot of the park. Like over my shoulder is the oxbow lake known as Watson Lake. Can't fish here, but you can see a lot of little fish. And every now and then, there'll be a big bass or something that comes up.
Found refuge in places like the Congaree River floor plan to earn a living. The iron box you see in the distance is an old still used to make alcohol.
So see, we're walking along and Lynn's reading all this to me, so I'll know what we're looking at. But pretty soon we're going to come across a moonshine still. If you know us, you know that we live in Wilkes County in North Carolina. And if you know anything about moonshine, Wilkes County is pretty famous for moonshine stills. So it's pretty cool to come here and see a placard for a moonshine still. And this looks like a pretty good spot to have your moonshine still, I bet.
No way to get in, Maggie.
So what did we forget today? Well, we were able to get it on our phone, but we did forget that little bitty brochure. And what we learned from that is, Lynn just told me, you should have picked that thing up, looked at what you picked up, and made sure it had the numbers and the descriptions, instead of thinking that you had it right. Who knew?
Synchronized fireflies that come through here in the spring. I would love to do that. But evidently this is a firefly trail, so you walk through here and you could probably see it. So every now and then it's good to stop and just listen and look around to see what you can hear and see.
The sounds you're hearing here are sounds that have existed for thousands and thousands of years. And before this was a national park, the Congaree and the Catawba Indian tribes made this part of their homeland. Before cell phones and airplanes and other things, they were hearing most of these same sounds. So that's the easiest and perhaps the best way to hike to see the swamp and the forest. But since water makes up so much of this national park, maybe another way that may be better, see it on a kayak. We'll find out tomorrow. Well, good morning. We're up at 7 o'clock this morning here in South Carolina, where it's normally pretty warm this time of year, but it's 45 degrees. Guess what we're doing? We're heading over to get on kayaks to go through the national park in kayaks. Ooh. If we hadn't booked the guide to go with us in a specific time, I'm pretty sure we would have waited until later in the day. But we'll bundle up and go. As long as we don't fall in, we should be fine.
Oh, I'm Alan. I work for JK Adventures, and I love what I'm doing. The best office chair I've had in a long time.
You go, man.
Yes, but there's the occasional cottonmouth that floats around. When you're going through here, there's a lot of overhang, which is perfectly fine to go underneath, but just keep your eye up a little bit. If you see a branch that looks a little funny, just paddle around it.
Come to the water where you will find peace. Take a step into the river. Get down on your...
So we do find ourselves out here on the Cedar Creek today. Alan is an awesome guide. He's pretty amazed with Maggie, and of course, I guess anybody that sees Maggie on a boat like this is pretty amazed with her. But so far, this is a wonderful, wonderful thing to be doing. We worried about it being cold, but the sun's starting to come up, and it's a perfect day to be out here on the creek.
Come to the mountain, well, take it in the view. You will find that life is greater than you knew. When you go through the storm, I will hold you, keep you warm. When you stay in the night, I will shelter, I will fight, I will fight.
While it's the same national park, and many of these are the same trees we saw on the hike. They look totally different floating down Cedar Creek.
You're broken and you're shattered at the point of no return. You pick up the pieces and you let the bridges burn. So come to the water, you're sailing with the breeze. Take a step into the river where you will find peace. Where you go through the storm, I will hold you, keep you warm. When you stay in the night, I will shelter, I will fight. Oh yeah, I will fight. When you go through the storm, I will hold you, keep you warm. When you stay in the night, I will shelter, I will fight, I will fight.
There's a peacefulness and tranquility when you're doing this. And even though we're in a group of 6 boats and a guide, it's still so quiet and so just kind of surreal. You're just floating on the water and all the trees around you. And so far the loblolly pines are my favorite as well because they're just so majestic. And it's just one of these things that, Lynn and I were just talking about. We sometimes used to skip things like this. We'd save the $170 it costs to do this and think we might do something else. But, life's more about the experiences that you get to experience than the things that you get to buy. And memories are pretty important things to spend your money on. We're very, very happy we did this today. It's an experience and one that makes you smile.
So come to the water where you will find peace. Take a step into the river and get down on your knees.
Animals came, dragonflies are two creatures that came.
Made it back. So what should you do here at Congaree National Park? Well, what do you think you'd like more? If you have the time, we suggest both, by land and by sea. Both take around 3 hours to complete. Hiking lets you walk amongst some of the oldest and tallest trees on the East Coast, and it's free. And nothing beats the sounds of paddling on the creek through those same trees. Either way, you may or may not see wildlife. Either way, you may or may not experience bug bites. And either way, you're bound to leave wondering how this national treasure only gets about 100,000 visitors per year, when it's less than 3 hours away from the Great Smoky Mountain National Park, which gets 12 million visitors per year, or even Myrtle Beach, which gets an average of over 18 million visitors per year. But come to think of it, maybe we should just keep this a secret amongst those of us who can slow down and enjoy Mother Nature at her best. Here's hoping you're one of those folks and that you'll join us on another video. If you'd like more information about where we camped, how we got here, and why we chose this beautiful park, then be sure to check out this video. You'll get all the info there. Thanks for being part of our journey.